right, everyone. Welcome to another enlightening episode of Collaboration Over Competition, a podcast that dives deep into the incredible outcomes when collaboration takes center stage. Now, today we have the honor and privilege of sitting down with a living legend, a name synonymous with NFL greatness, an NFL Hall of Famer, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. Everyone, welcome Edgerrin James to the podcast. How you doing, King?
Hey man, I'm doing good, man. Hey, I appreciate what you're doing for everybody, and I'm glad you actually brought me on.
Appreciate you taking the time with blessing us with your presence today as we had this elevated conversation, and we'll go ahead and get into the podcast if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's work.
Now, to start the podcast, we always ask our guests this question. So I'm wondering, what does the idea of collaboration over competition represent to you, if anything?
When you say collaboration over competition, I think to me it means that we're bringing things together. You're bringing people together. You're not competing with nobody. You're not sitting up there trying to one up somebody else. You're trying to uplift each other and actually inspire each other from, coming together. And we can always keep sharpening each other, iron sharpen iron. And one brother lifts another brother up, and that's how we get to the top.
Now, my second in the question, I'm wondering, like, in your opinion, do you have some advice on how one can strike a balance between excelling individually but still trying to contribute to that collective effort?
Well, for all my life, that's been kind of my MO. It's always been, I'm going to try to separate myself from the pack, but I'm going to also inspire you to catch me or to keep up with me. And as long as we keep pushing each other, we're actually getting better as a whole, because on the individual aspect, you have to go as far as you can go. You got to lift yourself up as high as you could potentially do. And you can't let people hold you back or hold you down. And that's where you have to find different motivational methods. You have to find different strategies. And I've always been trying to separate myself from whoever I'm next to. If we're doing business together, I'm not competing with you, but I'm going to use you as a barometer. I'm going to use you as a way that I need to get my game together, or I'm going to try to separate from you in a positive aspect to make sure that you're aware of, hey, look, man, I'm not trying to compete with you, but at the same time, man, you better keep up, because if you're content and you take off any time, you're going to see me get smaller and smaller to you, because you're going to be in my rear view. And once a person in your rear view, and the farther you get away, they get smaller and smaller. And that's where the separation kind of starts, because you've outgrown a person. And now our conversations will be different. And now I got to find somebody else to actually kick it with, or actually collab with, in a sense, because I'm trying to go up, and anybody that knows me, I'm not sleeping. I'm not sitting around playing no games. I'm trying to steady go up, and if you're not on that mindset, you may be a content person. You may be a person that say, man, I'm cool with where I'm at. And your ceiling and my ceiling, I don't have one. So I'm steady trying to go up. If you have a ceiling, man, I'm going to congratulate you. I'm going to support you, but I'm steady trying to pull away from you. But when you're saying that right there, it's an open invitation to say, man, look, hey, you need to keep up, or let's keep pushing each other, and vice versa. If somebody's doing better than me and they're doing things and they see me slacking, just bring it to my attention, because now it's up to me. I got a decision to make. Do I want to go up, or am I cool with where I'm at?
I love that. I love that. And one thing for everyone to take from that, a motto that I always use: separate yourself. Show what makes you different and unique. And in doing that, you can lead through example. Be that example for somebody to look up to and want to give them example to want to be better. So, I definitely love that perspective. And this topic of collaboration of competition is one that's taken off in the past couple of years. So, I'm definitely trying to encourage people, how we could come together and collaborate, because being Black, that's something we definitely need to do more of. So, that's why I try to use this podcast platform for, just to, show people and give them different ways on how we can encourage others, to come together to collaborate, because it's all for the better.
Yeah, you have to do that. And if we go back to a football scene or a football aspect of it, if you go to the University of Miami, there was always great running backs in that room. So when you're in a room with a bunch of greats, you have to understand that, nobody's wishing you get hurt. Nobody's wishing you don't do well. But we're gonna make sure that that you better take advantage of that carry. You better take advantage of that rep, because if you don't, you may not see the field again, or you may not never get another opportunity. And I've always taken that with me. I sit in the room with anybody. I said, man, when I get an opportunity, I got to make the most of it, because that guy that's behind me, that guy is going to try to do his thing, and it may not be no more carries left. So you take that as a friendly competition. You take that as something that you use along in life. You never know when you're gonna get that one shot, and you got to do what you can, do whatever you can with that shot, and elevate yourself because it may sometimes you don't get second chances.
And one thing, I interviewed Clinton Portis, fellow Miami running back, for our last interview. And one thing he spoke about, that Miami running back room he was in. But I guess his freshman year coming in was your senior year leaving out. And he said he asked you,
I was a junior. I was leaving out early. Yeah.
yep. And he asked you,
Edge asked me, he said, "You coming here?" I said, "Are you leaving?" And he said, "It shouldn't matter. Whether I stay or I go, you shouldn't duck the competition." And right then, from that moment on, I never shied away from competition.
Yeah, you have to use it, like use competition to your advantage. You know, you usually have to use competition to your advantage. You get a chance to sharpen your skills on the practice field, or when everything's quiet and everybody's not looking. Utilize those people to get you to a better you. A lot of people, they sit down and they run from it because they're afraid of what's next. But if you just continue to build on it, you can always take something from somebody else. This guy might be in better shape, or this guy might lift a little more. This guy might study a little bit more. If you start adding the things that they're utilizing against you, and you put those in your game automatically goes up. How far it goes up, that's all on you.
yep. And everyone out there, putting yourself in these challenging situations is the only way you can get better. It's the only way, to measure yourself, and get better. Like you said, iron sharpens iron. So I'm a person, I encourage the challenges. I encourage the competition because I know that's the only way I'm going to get better.
Exactly. You have to. You have to encourage the thing, especially. But it comes down to the person. You know, what are you trying to get out of this? If you're trying to max it out, you need competition every day because it's gonna keep you on your A game. And in this world, it's a cold world. It's always it's a new thing, a new a new this, a new that. So you got to always stay on your game. And I take pride in being around, being relevant, making sure that I'm current, I'm on my game every day because it's forever evolving. And nowadays you got the youth, they think they know a lot, but they do know a lot because they have more information that's accessible to them instantly. So that right there could be something that as an adult, you got to say, I got to keep up with this. I got to make sure I know how to move with them because if not, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. So you have to always stay on your game. You got to always be in the know.
Yes, sir. Staying open minded and flexible because times do change. And so to move on to this next question, as you see, I bought your book. Man, I read this book in 1 week. Amazing book and a definite read for our listeners out there. I'll definitely put the link in the description below. But just to touch on your book, so your book title, From Gold Teeth to Gold Jacket, it resonates with the journey you've navigated. One theme that you explore is challenging society's stereotypes to appearances like dreads and gold teeth. How have you confronted and transcended these preconceptions throughout your career? And how does this transformation play a pivotal role in your book's narrative?
When you go from gold teeth to gold jacket, it's a story. It's a story, and it's the story. It's the American dream or the American story that you go from rags to riches. And for myself, you go into a situation where a lot of people, they don't really know you, so they misjudge you. And anytime I've seen a person misjudge me, I've always used that as an opportunity. You know, they didn't understand that, or a lot of people wasn't aware that I love to read, I love to get information. But you're looking at me and you're judging me, thinking that I'm not on my game or I'm not in the know. So that way, I was always able to cipher between who's good, who's bad, who's coming with game, who's judging me, and so it weaved a lot of people out, and that's one thing that's always helped me. So you have to use situations to your advantage. Don't take it as an offense or don't take it as a person that's jugging at you. It's just because that's what society and the world has taught them and that's what they've learned. But then now you get a chance to retrain them. And I've had people come up to me and they say, hey, you know what, man, I gotta apologize to you because I really thought you was this or I thought you was that. And I don't take offense to it, but I've always used it to my advantage. So when you see me and you judge me, and once I recognize that you're judging me, now I got an opportunity to prove you wrong, or it's gonna make me step my game up even a little bit more. So that's what I try to put on display in the book. Don't let somebody dictate or put you in a box. You're going to show them that this is not what you thought. And a lot of times when you wake a person up from what they've been thinking, you just gave them the opportunity to grow. You just helped them as a person. And the next brother they see, they're going to probably take their time and say, I'm not going to judge him because I did that to Edgerrin James.
So this topic, man, it really does mean a lot to me because like it's two sided. You get the side that people judge you for your looks, but then on the other side, you provide that education and helping people on their preconceptions or stereotypes that they may have. So like working in the criminal justice system, they have a lot of training on cultural awareness now. So so a lot of times I'm working with the kids who have been stuck with these stereotypes, of someone having dreads or gold teeth, the stereotype of where they may be. So I'm always working with these kids, and I always, your book is one I definitely would recommend to them, to show that, your look and the stereotype is not everything. You also have to, pull out your character and show people that you are different, and don't let them put you into that box because, in this society, it's easy to put you into that category, that box. But to stay on this topic, I'm wondering, how has being the first Hall of Famer with dreads influenced your perspective on your career and like the broader impact that you could have? Because I feel like you leaving a legacy just in that, being the first bust with dreads, and I'm really excited to like who gonna be the next one.
Yeah, for myself, when that was one thing. I've always had that vision of saying, man, I'm gonna be the first Hall of Famer with dread because I was one of the first guys that come in the league that actually was a superstar in this league and had dreads and gold teeth, and so I just had to finish the job. But beyond that, when you go to these parks and you look around, you know, the youth football fields in America or anywhere, you're going to see a lot of kids with dreads. You're going to see a lot of kids that's unique and being themselves. And now the NFL and NBA and all major sports have welcomed that. And I'm quite sure I played some part in that because, I don't think they have a problem with it. I just think that it was never done. I don't think it was ever a situation where somebody with dreads and gold teeth came in and didn't kind of change their ways or try to conform to what everybody expected. This is not the Army. This is not the Navy where you have to carry yourself a certain way. You have to have this certain appearance. You can actually be yourself. And the NFL and NBA have done a great job of adjusting and making the proper adjustments from accepting and inviting you to be yourself. And that's what it's about. And when you look at all the kids on the parks, the things that make them be themselves, make them comfortable. A lot of times it starts with your hair. Your hair is something that we take pride in. In our community, we take pride in our hair. I don't care if you got the fade or you got the top, whatever it is you got, yeah, you can rock it out however. You might be pushing to see if you got them waves up there. When I had a low cut, I used to be trying to get them waves, so, but that's part of our MO, and now the kids can be themselves. And when you go to the Hall of Fame, you're going to say, hey, there's a person up there that played in this game. He has dreads and he was able to remain himself and still it didn't stop him from getting here. So I'm just opening the door to say, look, you can still be yourself. Just play the game, do things the right way. Now you can't go out here robbing people and doing all this crazy stuff thinking that you're going to get there. But the appearance really doesn't matter. It's the person. It's what you do and how you carry yourself. That's what really matters. So I actually, showed that, like I'm not somebody that's going to get in trouble. I'm not somebody that's going to do all those wicked things. And I've always been myself, and it never changed. So a kid can say, man, you mean to tell me I can just go out, play football and be myself and still be able to reap all the benefits of a clean cut guy? That's a win-win.
Yeah, and that's what I love about you. You had the dreads and the gold teeth, but your face card was good. You always stood on business. And you did things the right way. So I'm really curious. Like, was it true? I've heard that you lost on almost up to $5 million with endorsements because you didn't want to cut your dreads or your gold teeth.
Yeah, well, during that time, we didn't have people with dreads and gold teeth that was part of the commercial side or the business side of the NFL. So when it came to marketing and companies, first of all, they didn't expect me to just blow up like that. So I just hit the scene. When I got on the scene fast. Everything went fast, and when that stuff started happening, opportunities started coming. And when those opportunities start coming, there's something that goes with it. It's like, hey, we would like for you to endorse this, but you know, the consumer, they're probably not too receptive to this. So you would probably have to make this adjustment or that adjustment. So for myself, you know, it was more important to say, man, nah, I'm cool. First of all, I'm coming from nothing and the millions I got good enough already. So it made it easier to turn down to say, look, nah, I'll pass on that. I'm just gonna be myself because that's what makes me me, you know, because I'm able to get all of me, everything out of me because I don't have to sit up there and change nothing. I wake up, this is me. I go to sleep, this is me. I don't have to sit up there and say, hey, let me put on this or let me do this. I carry myself the way I carry myself, and it's going to be consistent. And what you see is what you get. If you like it, man, you're going to love it. If you don't really like it, you know, it's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to sit up there and learn to adjust to, or hopefully we don't have to cross paths and, you know, it's a decision that we have to make from a business standpoint because, man, what you see is what you get. And you're going to see this all the time. You know, for years it's been this way. And I've been sliding through this thing a long time, being myself.
Yes, sir. Man, I want to give you your flowers and commend you for that because I ain't seen nobody else do it like you did it. Like I said, you stood on business, kept your face card clean, and did it the right way. So I commend you for that. And like I said, man, you going down the history for for the path you laid, and I know you still got a lot of more work to do.
I appreciate that, but you know, it's all part of it. You know, I think you get more out of being yourself because it's natural. You know, you can get more out of it. It's you think about an actor; he has to go in, he has to learn this script, and then he has to try to perfect this script, and then after a while, he gets a new script, and then he got to be this one. You know, he got to be that one. You know, with me, I don't have to do it. I don't have to learn no scripts. I just get up and be Edge every day.
I love that. I love that. And this kind of leads into the next topic. So, talking about mental health, that's a very popular topic we talk about on this podcast. So achieving success while maintaining your mental health is a challenge many face. I'm wondering, like, how did you prioritize your mental health while excelling in football? And then who were some key individuals, that provided that support for you during challenging times when you needed it?
Well, you know, the mental health aspect, and especially in the black community, I think a lot of there's more awareness being brought to it now. But if you grew up as a black in America, you know, you dealt with that without even knowing that you dealt with it. You have uncles, you have aunts that are using drugs, that are nonstop being incarcerated. They have all the potential in the world, but it's something. So the mental health aspect is just been brought to the forefront more so now than ever. But I think usually especially when you talk about football players come from typical football players usually come from single parent households. When you look at the parks, that's what it's filled with. Everybody has somebody that's in prison, somebody that's going through something nonstop. So the mental health aspect has always been there, you know. So you grow kind of accustomed to it, and you kind of get used to it in a sense to where I don't know if you really pay it attention as much as we probably should have in the past. But now that you have everybody making it a hot topic, I think it's a great thing because everybody's dealing with that. When you talk to these kids and you look at these kids on the parks, they're dealing with it every day, but you become immune to it. And so for myself, you know, it's one of those things where you see it, you deal with it, and you keep moving because ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you. That's the way it's been. Now you may get somebody to pay you a little attention, but back in the day, nobody paid you no attention. You can say, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. Hey, man, you better toughen up, you better buckle up, you better do this, you better do that. And now I say we're in a better space. We're in a better space because, you know, these different organizations are getting behind it. And now we're getting a chance to be in the same room as a lot of other cultures, you know, because they get away with a lot of stuff. It seems like dang, why they get away with this? Because they knew, hey, it's a mental problem or this and that. With us, oh, it's just another brother did this or did that, and now he's doing 20, 30 years when somebody else did the same thing, and they probably got a little slap on the wrist. But now we can kind of focus on that. And as an athlete, you're gonna have to deal with it, and it's something that as you go up in ranks, it's a way that you can give back, you can reach more people, and you can tell your story. Because I haven't been in one locker room with a team full of brothers that haven't been through a lot of things that are similar, or we all our careers or all our lifestyles pretty much run parallel.
And for the second of the question, like who were some of your key people that that gave you the support that you needed? Was it just family, or you have any teammates, like any mentors that that had to help you during those challenging times?
But anytime there's challenges, you always have your family. You have your family, you have examples of what to do, what not to do. And one thing that I've always found peace or found answers in is books. I've always, books give you a chance to reach people that you never get a chance to reach physically. They take you places you never get to actually go, but you get a chance to go there and they can show you examples. So books were one thing. Or if I seen somebody that was successful, anybody, like I don't have a problem with connecting with anybody, because, that's what's going to kind of give you a map or give you a little insight. So I can't say it's one or two people. It's a collective group. It's a collective group effort. So that's kind of how I was able to overcome anything that came up, because there's always a situation. Anytime you think you got it bad, somebody had it worse.
Yep, and they say it takes a village, but what I'm taking from that is, for people out there, if you need a way, books is definitely a way to help me. Once I graduated college, there was a moment there where I just stopped learning. I was just happy to be done. But around the age of 25, I got back into the books, and that's what took me to the next level. So I would definitely recommend you can start here with the from gold teeth to gold jacket.
Yeah, you can gold to the gold jacket. It's real, it's raw. But and that's the thing about for me is like is the weirdest thing is like I used to hate to read when I was in school. When you told me I had to read, I wouldn't read. But when I got out of when I got out of school, that's when I started reading, because like I wanted information. I wanted to know, and that's one thing that separated me from my peers. Because during the downtime, I would always read anything that was real, anything that could elevate me. I fed this brain with so much. And as you start getting older, all those things start kicking in. It kicks in later. It's like that. It's like that liquor that you got that you don't really think is the juice or something. And when it kick in, it kicks
Yeah,
in.
so y'all heard that reading books and expanding your knowledge is definitely one of the ways, to manage mental health and, just help with overall your well being. So to move into this next topic, so entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship can leave a lasting legacy. Can you give us some insight about the Create the Life You Want to Live program and podcast, which focuses on encouraging young individuals to explore entrepreneurship and pave their path to generational wealth with the same five powerful pillars that helped you be successful?
For myself, when I talk about the creative life, it's like myself. I didn't have nobody. That's what made me come up with creative life. If I wanted somebody to create it, if you think about all these things, this in this world, somebody had a vision, somebody created something, so you have to get behind yourself. You have to always have the man up top that's your guiding force or guiding light. But then you have to say, man, I can't lean on nobody, but I can put things in place that can help myself. So it starts with yourself. It starts with your mindset. And within that mindset, that's what's going to trigger the other things. So the Creative Life You Want to Live program is something that could help anybody, because, as an athlete, they always want to put you in a box. They say, hey, sports. If I was just talking sports, everybody be honed in. But no, I'm talking real life, because I had to live it. I had to do it. And everything that you see me doing, it wasn't from a handout. It wasn't from somebody say, hey, let me put you on this. I had to go out and get it. I had to go out and make it happen. So I know personally that you can make things happen. I know personally that you can do these things without somebody giving you this or somebody sitting up there, making you do something. It starts from within. And so the Creative Life program is something that is for everybody, no matter where you're at. And I wanted to make it a vague situation so it doesn't hone in on one person, but it's the type of person that wants more out of life. And, you think about it. What would you do if you didn't have to go to work? What would you do if you didn't have to do these certain things? That's who you really are. That's what you really want to be. And so I want to try to get people to that space, because I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do, but I had to create it brick by brick. I had to set this schedule to where I said, okay, if I don't want to wake up early, I need to make sure I'm in position to not waking up early. If I don't want to be in this situation or I don't want to be living here, I got to make sure that I put myself in those situations. So if you see me doing something, it's because that's what I want to do, not because of what I have to do. And if I'm not where I really want to be, you see me steady working to get there. And I think that's what creative life is all about.
Yes, I mean I've been seeing the content you be putting out, man. It's been amazing, and we'll definitely have to create the life you want to live website in the description below, and that's what I was wondering too. Was this just for young people? Because when I'm checking out the website, I'm like, man, this some shit I wanna get involved in. I want to.
Yeah, no, it's for everybody. And that's the thing. It's for everybody. I've been blessed enough to go from the lower side. I grew up in Immokalee, Florida. It's one of the poorest cities in the U.S. And so I come from ground level. And then, I grew up an hour or so from Miami. I come to Miami, you get to see all these things. I get there when I'm 17 and you see all these opportunities, but then you start seeing all these different cultures that come over here without nothing and they build these things up and they end up having things. And so all it does is just teaching you, like, look, man, you can go from nothing to something as long as you're willing to do what it takes. And so it covers all the bases even from the youth. Of course, I'm 45, so I've been there, done that from a youth aspect. But I'm in a situation where I hang with millionaires and billionaires. So that's a different conversation. That's a different space that you're in. But I'm still a messenger to go back to my people and say, look, man, you can do this or you can do that because I'm seeing how they're doing it. I'm in the rooms, and I'm actually living it. I'm not just sitting here saying, hey, I played football. I got this. I'm just sitting on this. No, football, you barely see me talk football. You're going to see me talk business. You're going to see me talk life. You're going to see me talk having fun. And I'm always trying to open a new business, a new venture, because, man, it's so many opportunities out there that you get to a point to where you're like, man, I don't want to just do this. I want to do some of everything. I get kind of big eyed, like I might try too many things sometimes, but that's what it's about. And I'm always having fun.
Yes, no, I definitely find myself in that situation a lot sometimes. I try to stay focused, but no, like I said, we're gonna have the website, in the description below. And I definitely encourage anybody, from youth to adults to check out and sign up for the Create the Life You Want to Live program, as they got some big things coming for 2024 as well. So now you were speaking on, entrepreneurship. I'm wondering, like, could you also shed some light on the genesis of your entrepreneurial journey and like share a bit about some of the businesses that you're currently involved in?
Well, the first thing I started with was real estate. I was 20 years old. I got into the NFL. And of course, you got a lot of money. I got a lot of money. I was one of the top picks. But I've always wanted to be in business. Business was my passion. Football was my second thing. It was my backup plan. But I really always wanted to be a businessman. But I knew to get there, I had to utilize football as the vehicle to get me to business. My grandfather was a contractor. He always led people. He was a leader of men. And so I developed that. And so I've always wanted to be a big time businessman. I've always liked business. So I utilized football to put me in that position. And so I started with real estate. I used to go in the locker room and Marvin Harrison. He used to own rental properties. And so I started going to buy these books, learn about it, and then I go have a conversation because I don't like going to have a conversation with somebody without going and doing a little research. So I do a little research, then start having those conversations. And next thing you know, you start buying property. It's the three necessities in life: food, clothing, shelter. So if you get in those three things and one of those three things, you're always going to have a chance. And the real estate is what I first started out with. It wasn't a situation where I had to rush real estate is slow money sometimes. There's every now and then you might get a hit here and there, but it's a slow progression. And so that worked for me. I can learn it and I wasn't pressured about a scheme or scam or some con man saying you got to do this and do that. I was able to put myself in a position where I can learn this stuff and actually, watch it all progress. So that's where it stemmed from. And from the real estate, I went on to, I love to, as ball players, we like to be in the clubs, we like to be in the strip clubs, we like to be, So I bought a strip club. But not only did I buy the business, I bought the real estate. I went back to the core. I bought the real estate. One of the one of the best properties in the city of Miami. I bought a strip club that and it's like sitting right where you wanted to be, everything. So I knew I was doing the right thing, but the business side, I didn't know nothing about running a strip club. So I went around to every strip club, got with every owner, got with every manager, and just took a year to learn about the business. And so that's where it stemmed from. And then I started opening up restaurants. It all runs parallel. So you start looking at these situations, you start putting things together. And then I get into the clothing business. You start learning about the clothing. Only thing I haven't gotten into is the food business yet. And one day the opportunity gonna come and I'll probably be in that too. But food, clothing, shelter. I said I'm gonna get in those things and then you spin it from there. So we own nightclubs, we own we just doing some I got some of everything. When you look at it, when you look at the overall portfolio, it's a fun portfolio. It's pretty fun.
Diversity sound like you got in your portfolio.
It's it's diverse, but it kind of stays in that same pocket because I know who I am. I'm a night person. I like being out. I like being on the go. I like moving around. So I try to make sure that I'm putting myself in a situation where it's things that I would do, places I would go, because I'm going to go there. If I don't have no customers, I'm going to be there as a customer. So that's how you have to look at it. And then by you traveling so much, you get a chance to see the best of the best. You go to Vegas, you go to New York, you go to LA. Of course, I'm already in Miami. You start seeing it's okay. Now you just start taking ideas from everybody else and you just start implementing them. And you just build it. You just continue to build it. It's a copycat world. And you just say, okay, these are things that are going to help me elevate. And you just start adding them to your game. And then it's hard for me to see a person not being successful if they're doing what it takes and they're doing the right things.
You're right. Definitely putting the work. And man, I have never been to a strip club, and I have never been to Miami. So I got to make both of those happen. Come check you out.
I mean, it's an open invitation at Atlanta, Miami. All you gotta do is say you want to come. I'll make sure you first lap dance on me.
Say less. Say less. Say less. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Now, I want to get into some NFL questions. So I got some what I like to call some NFL quick hitters. Just five simple questions about your NFL career. All righty. So throughout your career, you played against some iconic players. What was one of your favorite rivalries or matchup that stands out to you?
Uh, well, as a rookie, the first time I got a chance to play against the Dallas Cowboys, that was a big deal because they were the original Big Three. We came on the scene as the new triplets. So that was pretty cool. And then Deion Sanders, he grew up like 20 something miles from myself. So Deion is the legend in our eyes. And that's somebody that, the day I got drafted, Deion called me and we talk about, you talk about not football, but as being drafted. First, congratulate you, but tell you about what you're about to go through as in becoming a football player. So Deion is like a big deal in our eyes. We grew up in the 239 area. So that right there was a moment that, you say, dang, I'm really in the NFL because you look down, you see Emmitt Smith, you see Troy, you see Dion, you see Michael Irvin. So, and the Cowboys, they was running things in the past, So that was one thing that always stood out to me.
No, I love that. You speaking on Deion Sanders. It's like the circle of life. Deion Sanders inspired you, and you made it to the NFL. And then I heard you recently talk about Dalvin Cook being one of your favorite running backs. You watched him during Pop Warner. So just that circle of life. You inspiring people and just helping the next person get inspired. For greatness. So I definitely love that. For my next one, so in your book From Gold Teeth to Gold Jacket, Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning praised you as his best teammate. I'm wondering, in your opinion, who was your favorite teammate and why?
Well, for me, I wouldn't say that I have one favorite because it's different situations. There's so many different situations for myself because there's, when you get there, you have these older guys that are leading you, showing you the way. And then you get into a space where you start being there for a while, that you got these guys that kind of settle in. And there's always, it's an evolving door or revolving door in the NFL. So I don't have not one in particular, but the University of Miami, we stick together, so we always rock out. So there's somebody from the U, and me and Reg was on the same team. And, but you have a relationship with Dre, you have a relationship with Ed Reed. You have a relationship with Clint Porter. You have all these guys that you build a bond bigger than football. So it's like you got teammates that are just football, but then you have really your teammates that like, man, like we really together. When yeah, like if one of us had an event, if Santana's having an event in DC, the whole mob is going up there to go support him. So you would always see us rolling pretty deep. And so it's a collective thing. I can't really just point out one person, and I appreciate the fact that P, he saw that in myself, as a teammate. You always want to try to be that type of teammate, to try to, leave your mark in the sense that, hey, I'm here to do what I'm supposed to do, and I got your back.
And I feel like, with Peyton Manning saying that, man, that speaks highly of your character. And when I had Clint Portis on, man, he spoke about the same thing with just that Miami closeness. When I asked him that same question, it was former Miami teammates. So, it, that Miami bond is real and alive in the world, I see. Now for this next one, the history of running backs in the NFL was rich. Can you share your top five greatest running backs of all time?
Oh man, that's like Walter Payton, my favorite all time. But there's so many great running backs, and it all goes on to the system or what you're looking for them to do. You're looking for the great third down back. You're looking for, that every down back. So like I just always start with Walter Payton and leave it right there because everybody's in the group, but that's the one that just separated itself from the pack to myself. That made me say, yeah. I wasn't fortunate enough to witness Jim Brown, but when you look at the man as a whole, Jim Brown is probably the most impressive running back all time because as a human being, the things he did for our culture, the things he did for the game and our culture, bringing those two together, that takes a manly man to do that.
So for this next one, so looking back on your football journey, is there any specific game or moment that stands out as the most memorable or impactful in your career? And if so, what made it special?
Well, if I had to say the most memorable and impactful, it had to be at the University of Miami versus UCLA because there's so many factors that went into that situation. Somebody wasn't able to play, so that means I got extra carries. I'm the same guy, but now I get a chance to be put on display. And the game was a game that was supposed to happen earlier in the season, and it got pushed back due to the hurricane. And the fact that they were the number one team in the nation, they had a chance to go on and win a national championship. But they came down here and played against us after we had just took a beating in Syracuse the week before. And so, after when you're in those situations right there and you have nothing to lose and you got the number one team coming, number one team in the nation coming, and you go on and put up a performance like I was able to, and it was due to the opportunity that I was given because at the University of Miami, we have so many great backs to where you're not going to get a chance to put your skills on display every time. And that was one game that did everything you would want as a running back. It gave you the light that you wanted, gave you the opportunities you wanted, and it gave you the opponent that you wanted.
Vividly remember that game from your book. And one thing that was funny, Reggie Wayne, he was on the sideline talking to you during the game. He was asking you, "What's next? What's next?" And you told him NFL was next. And he said that's when he knew you was gone. So
You gotta go. Yeah, and that's the thing is like sometimes when you gotta go, and it's like it's nothing else left for me to do in this space right here. And physically, I knew I was ready. It's just that you don't know, do the NFL know that I'm ready because you don't have the exposure, and that was the perfect storm.
yep, and, the game that propelled you to be the fourth pick overall, and man, you turned out to be the right pick. I know there's a lot of controversy with you going over Cedric Business, so you definitely proved all the doubters.
No, Ricky Williams over Ricky Williams.
Yes, you're right, Ricky Williams. You're right. You definitely proved all the doubters wrong. So for this last one, so you've had the opportunity to play in various NFL stadiums. Which one stands out as your favorite, and what made it special to you?
For me, being a South Florida person, anytime I got a chance to come play the Miami Dolphins, that was big. That was where you get a chance to you're gonna have 100, 200 people, family members intersection right there for you. And you're playing against the Dolphins, the team that you grew up watching. Now you put your family in a bind because I had some uncle, they're diehard Dolphin fans, so you get and you know it. You know it. You know that all their life they love them Dolphins. And so that right there was pretty cool to be able to come down here, especially when we was able to get a win. When we was able to get a win and I didn't have to go home, we could stay here. I could stay and party in Miami after beating the Dolphins. Man, it don't get better than that.
Man, just from reading the book and interviewing you and Clinton, like I said, I've never been to Florida, but man, just from y'all experience, it's a state I got to get to. Especially Miami with just the weather, the vibes. It just sounds like everything is good down there, man.
Yeah, I mean, don't wait till you get too old, man. Like it's action out here, man. But the beauty of this city is, man, this is where everybody's coming to let loose, enjoy life, and they coming down here to have fun. So the energy is having fun because people are coming here to have fun. Just imagine being on vacation every day.
Sir, that'll be my next stop. Now, this is my last football question, and we'll kind of end it here soon. So, I seen you recently attended some coach training camp practices. I'm wondering, like, what are your thoughts on the franchise's current state and the direction they're headed, especially with the new first round pick, Anthony Richardson.
But with the coach, coach is a winning organization. They have an owner that's committed to winning. If the situation with Andrew Luck hadn't happened, we wouldn't even be in this space. Because when you look at the decision that was made to draft Andrew Luck, it was the right decision. And that dude would have been around a while playing at a high level. But life took a different turn for him and he moved on. So the Colts they had to deal with that situation. And now they have a quarterback that for me watching and knowing this kid from the little time that I do know him, they have a good one. They got a good one. And so they got the right one. And it's just a matter of time. You have to put the things together. And when you have an organization that's committed to winning, you look at how many games this organization has won. It makes tough decisions. It makes unpopular decisions. But at the end of the day, that organization will be on top sooner than later.
And that starts from the top with the owner, and that kind of leads into my next question. Like, can you kind of share some perspective on your relationship with Colts owner Jim Irsay? I feel like I haven't seen a better owner player relationship like the one I've seen with you guys, especially reading your book and watching your documentary.
Yeah, I call him the big man, but it's like it's just a difference when you can be yourself. Everybody else don't get a chance to be themselves. And I think in this profession, in any profession, billionaires, millionaires, successful people, they have a lot of BS people that come kiss up to them, suck up to them. So they deal with a lot of phony people. And then when you have a person that's real, connect with somebody that's real, you sense it. It's just a different energy. You can sense that it's pure. You can sense that it's real. It's like, I'm not asking you for nothing. You're not asking me for nothing. I appreciate the opportunity to come play for the organization. I came to do my job. I did my job, but I was always myself. So everything kind of circles back to just being yourself. And real people, they connect with real people because when you get in these spaces, and a lot of people, or a lot of us don't get a chance to experience what it's like to be successful at a high level. But once you get to those spaces, you're dealing with a lot of people that are not really themselves because they don't know how to deal with you. They've never been around a person that has everything, a person that the world looks up to. So they're gonna sit up there and conform, or they're gonna try to to please the situation. And myself, I just always just been myself. And I never set out to say, hey, me and the owner gonna be cool like this or cool, that never was the intention. It was just always, man, Ed's gonna be Ed. And me and the owner just always had a great relationship. And over the years, it's just gotten better and better. And, the fact that, he does these rock and roll concerts, music, I'm into the music thing and going to the concert, and I like to travel and have fun. So it just all falls together. So it's a cool situation, but it's not something that you can kind of map out or plan. You just be yourself. And this is what I always tell everybody, this is what keeping it real gets you, just being yourself.
I was just about to say that, and I'm sure from his perspective, it's good to see that he appreciates someone real. Uh, like you said, being in his position, I'm sure he doesn't get that a lot. So I'm glad that you could provide that for him. Like I said, it was interesting watching the documentary and watching the parade ride of with the NFL Hall of Fame, and kind of how like you've already made your mark on the NFL Hall of Fame, with the dunk that you brought down to ride through the parade and the famous backseat with all the signatures. So, man, that was beautiful to see, and just keep it going. Now for this last question, this podcast is sponsored by Greatness Vodka. This is a black-owned liquor company here in Wichita, Kansas. In behalf of our sponsors, we would like to know, what does greatness represent to you? I've seen you on your podcast lately. You've asked a lot of NFL Hall of Famers, what does it take to be great? But what does greatness represent to you?
Well, greatness is a commitment to being the best. That's what it takes to be great. It's like it starts with a total commitment. And I think to be great, you have to give it your all. But there's no room for no partially great or part-time great. Greatness is every day, all day, and it's embedded in you. So to be great, it starts with consistency every day. No days off. You can't let nobody. It's like every day I got to show you I'm great, and I don't have a problem with it. It's not, and then it gets to a point where you're doing it effortless. So when I look at greatness, I think it's a consistent thing. Every day I'm doing it, and you just constantly knocking down barriers, and that's where greatness comes from. It's because you have these one-offs or these one year wonders or these little hits here and there, but who can do things over a long period of time? That's what greatness is.
Yeah, I say a lot. It's all about the long game. Who gonna last long? It's a marathon, like Nipsey Hussle would say. Edge, I want to thank you for sharing your credible journey and insights with us today, man. Your experiences on and off the field are truly inspiring, and we're grateful for the opportunity to learn from you. So, to our listeners, stay tuned for more captivating conversations from collaboration over competition, and we'll see you guys next time. Hey, thank you for blessing us once again, Edge, and you have a blessed rest of your day, my man.
All right, man. Thanks for having me, man. Y'all keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Stay blessed.